Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. We are really glad you are here with us today. We have a topic that a surprising number of learners mix up, even at an intermediate level. The two words look almost the same. They sound very similar, but they mean completely different things.
That's right. Today we're talking about adapt and adopt, two words that differ by just one letter but have entirely different meanings and entirely different uses. Once you understand the difference clearly today, you're going to feel genuinely confident using both words correctly in speaking and writing.
We're going to cover what each word means, all the different ways they're used, the noun and adjective forms, where they appear in real life, common mistakes, two conversations, and a quiz. Let's get into it.
Let's start with adapt. To adapt means to change something or to change yourself in order to fit a new situation, environment, or purpose. The key idea in adapt is change. Something already exists and it's modified or adjusted to suit new conditions.
Think about moving to a new country. At first, everything feels different. The food, the weather, the customs, the language. Over time, you start to adjust your behavior, your habits, your routine. You start to fit into your new environment. That process of adjusting yourself to fit new conditions is adapting.
Adapt can be used for people, animals, objects, and ideas. People adapt to new environments. Animals adapt to survive in changing habitats. A film can be adapted from a book, meaning the story is changed and adjusted to work in a different format. A recipe can be adapted for people with allergies by changing certain ingredients.
Some clear examples of adapt in sentences. She adapted quickly to her new school and soon felt at home. The organization had to adapt its strategy when the market changed. The novel was adapted into a successful film. He adapted his teaching style to suit students with different learning needs. Animals that could not adapt to the changing climate died out.
Notice the pattern in all of those sentences. Something already existed and was changed or adjusted. The organization had a strategy and it was adjusted. The novel existed and it was modified into a film. He had a teaching style and he adjusted it. That's always the idea with adapt. Something is already there and it's modified to fit.
Now let's talk about adopt. To adopt means to take something that already exists and make it your own, or to take a child into your family legally and raise them as your own. The key idea in adopt is taking and accepting something, not changing it. You are choosing to use it, follow it, or take it in as it is.
When a company adopts a new policy, it takes that policy and starts using it. The policy is not modified, it is taken on and applied. When a government adopts a new law, it accepts that law and puts it into effect. When a family adopts a child, they take that child into their family and raise them as their own.
Some clear examples of adopt in sentences. The school adopted a new approach to discipline last year. Many countries have adopted similar laws on data privacy. The couple decided to adopt a child from overseas. She adopted a positive attitude toward her new challenges. The team adopted a more aggressive style of play under the new manager.
Notice the pattern in those sentences. Something is being taken on, accepted, or used. The school took on a new approach. Countries took on similar laws. The couple took in a child. She took on a positive attitude. Nothing is being changed or adjusted. Something is being accepted and started to be used. That's always the idea with adopt.
So, here's the clearest way to tell them apart. Adapt is about changing something to fit. Adopt is about taking something and starting to use it. If you adjust, modify, or change something to suit your needs, use adapt. If you choose to take something on, accept it, and begin using it as it is, use adopt.
A great example that shows both at once. A company might adopt a new working policy, meaning they take it on and start using it. Then, over time, they might need to adapt that policy, meaning they adjust and modify it to better suit their specific situation. First, they adopted it, then they adapted it. Both happened to the same policy, but at different stages.
Let's now look at the noun forms because these are very commonly used and learners need to know them. The noun from adapt is adaptation. The noun from adopt is adoption. These are two completely different words, and they're both used regularly.
Adaptation means the process of changing to fit new conditions or the result of that process. The film is an adaptation of the best-selling novel. The adaptation of The Species happened over thousands of years. His rapid adaptation to city life impressed everyone around him. Adaptation is also used in biology to describe the way living things change over time to survive in their environment.
Adoption is the act of taking something on or accepting it, or the legal process of taking a child into your family. The adoption of new technology has transformed the industry. The charity works to support children awaiting adoption. The adoption of the new policy was met with some resistance from staff. Adoption is widely used in legal, social, and business contexts.
The adjective forms are worth knowing. Adaptable means able to change and fit into new situations easily. She's very adaptable and always settles in quickly. Adoptive is used for family relationships created through adoption. Her adoptive parents raised her with great love. Adapted and adopted are also used as adjectives. The adapted version of the book, their adopted daughter.
In business, adapt appears when companies respond to change and adjust strategies. Companies must adapt to survive. Adopt appears when something new is chosen and put into use. The company adopted cloud storage. In science, species adapt to their environments over generations. In media, books and plays are adapted for screen or stage. In families, couples adopt children. And in attitude, you adopt a position or a tone. She adopted a calm approach.
Now let's go through the mistakes, because these are the patterns that separate learners from confident speakers and writers.
Mistake number 1, using adopt when adapt is needed. A learner might say, the company needs to adopt its strategy to the new market conditions. That's wrong. The strategy is being changed and adjusted to suit new conditions. The correct sentence is, the company needs to adapt its strategy to the new market conditions.
Mistake number 2, using adapt when adopt is needed. A learner might say, the school adapted a new policy on mobile phones. That's wrong. The school is taking on a new policy and starting to use it, not changing it. The correct sentence is, the school adopted a new policy on mobile phones.
Mistake number 3, confusing adaptation and adoption. A learner might write, the adoption of the book into a film was very successful. That is wrong. Turning a book into a film involves changing and adjusting it. That is an adaptation, not an adoption. The correct sentence is, the adaptation of the book into a film was very successful.
Mistake number 4, forgetting that adapt is always about change and adjustment. Some learners know the word adapt, but use it when something is simply being chosen or accepted without any modification. For example, saying we adapted a new approach means we changed an approach that already existed. If you mean you chose a new approach and started using it, the correct word is adopted. We adopted a new approach.
Mistake number 5, forgetting the noun forms. Some learners know adapt and adopt as verbs, but freeze when they need the noun. Remember, adapt gives you adaptation and adopt gives you adoption. The adaptation of the novel, the adoption of the policy. These noun forms are very frequent in academic writing, news articles, and professional documents.
Mistake number 6, using adaptable and adoptive incorrectly. Adaptable means flexible and able to change. Adoptive refers to a relationship created through adoption. Saying she is a very adoptive person when you mean she adjusts easily is wrong. She is a very adaptable person is correct. Saying his adaptable parents when you mean his parents who adopted him is wrong. His adoptive parents is correct.
6 mistakes and 6 clear corrections. Keeping these in mind will sharpen your English significantly.
Now let us hear 2 conversations so you can hear adapt and adopt working naturally.
First conversation. 2 colleagues talking about changes at work.
Have you heard about the new system they want to roll out across the company?
Yes, I have. Apparently, management wants to adopt it company-wide by the end of the quarter. I think it's a good idea in principle.
Me too, but I'm a bit worried that some of the older staff will struggle. Not everyone adapts to new technology as quickly as others.
That is a fair point. Maybe they'll need to adapt the training program to suit different levels of experience.
That would make sense. You can't just adopt something new and expect everyone to immediately be comfortable with it.
Exactly. The adoption of new systems always goes more smoothly when people feel supported through the transition.
Did you catch all of that? Adopt and adoption were used when talking about choosing and taking on the new system. Adapt and adopting were used when talking about adjusting and changing to fit new conditions. Both words in a completely natural workplace conversation.
Second conversation. A teacher talking to a student about an assignment.
I've been working on my essay about environmental science, and I want to talk about how animals respond to climate change.
That sounds like a strong topic. You should look at how different species have adapted to survive in changing habitats. There's a lot of excellent research on this.
Yes, I found some great material. I also want to include a section on how governments have adopted new environmental policies in response to the crisis.
Good thinking. You could also discuss how communities have had to adapt their lifestyles to cope with the effects of climate change on a local level.
Should I mention anything about adaptation as a biological concept?
Absolutely. Biological adaptation is a central concept in this field. Make sure you distinguish between natural biological adaptation in animals and the adoption of policy by governments. They are very different processes, but both relevant to your essay.
That conversation showed adapt and adaptation used for biological and behavioral change, and adopt and adoption used for governments and organizations choosing to take on new policies, both used correctly and naturally in an academic context.
Quiz time. 5 sentences. Correct or incorrect? Take a moment before we give each answer.
Sentence 1. The company adopted its communication style to suit international clients.
Take a moment. This is incorrect. The communication style is being changed and adjusted to suit new conditions. That is adapting, not adopting. The correct sentence is, the company adapted its communication style to suit international clients.
Sentence 2. They decided to adopt a child from the local care system.
This is correct. Taking a child into your family legally is adoption. Adopt is exactly the right word here.
Sentence 3. The film is a beautiful adaptation of the original stage play.
This is correct. Turning a stage play into a film involves changing and adjusting it. Adaptation is the right noun here.
Sentence 4. Many schools have adapted a zero-tolerance policy on bullying.
This is incorrect. The school is choosing to take on and use a new policy. Nothing is being changed. The correct sentence is, many schools have adopted a zero-tolerance policy on bullying.
Sentence 5. She's incredibly adaptable and always settles into new environments very quickly.
This is correct. Adaptable is the adjective meaning able to change and fit into new situations. It's used perfectly here.
How did you do? If you got all 5 right, you have truly understood the difference. If you got some wrong, go back to the core idea. Adapt is about changing to fit. Adopt is about taking on and using.
Let us finish with a clear summary. Adapt means to change or adjust something or yourself to fit a new situation or purpose. The focus is on modification and adjustment. The noun is adaptation. The adjective is adaptable.
Adopt means to take something on and start using it, or to take a child into your family. The focus is on accepting and choosing. Nothing is changed. The noun is adoption. The adjective is adoptive in family contexts.
The single test to use every time. Ask yourself, is something being changed and modified to fit, or is something being taken on and used as is? Changed to fit means adapt. Taken on and used means adopt.
And that's everything for today. We hope this episode gave you real clarity and confidence with adapt and adopt. These words appear in business, science, social life, law, and everyday conversation. Getting them right makes your English genuinely more precise.
Your practice task? Write 4 sentences. 1 using adapt as a verb, 1 using adopt as a verb, one using adaptation as a noun and one using adoption as a noun. That covers the most important uses from today.
Leave your questions in the comments. We love hearing from our listeners every single week.
Share this episode with someone who's learning English. It helps us grow and helps more people improve.
Take care of yourself and keep practicing. Every episode you complete is real progress.
We'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye and keep going. You're doing brilliantly.